So my next guest, I've got a lot of stories to be able to address with this. Chef Sal Marzilli.
How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you for joining me, my friend.
Pleasure.
This is awesome. And we got to bring in something you had out there too, right?
Yes.
Let's grab that. Definitely not, going to be starting after this. This is, oh my God. Look at that.
I got a couple of glasses. You got
I got them right here for us.
Good.
This is unbelievable. Chianti, oh, you got to tell me. I got so many stories to sell. It's going to take a little bit here, but we got to talk about this dish first because look at this. That is amazing. What do you got here?
Well, this is a center cut pork chop, and what we do with this is we lightly season it. We grill it. Obviously, you can see the grill marks on it.
Absolutely.
To the right temperature that you're looking for. This one happens to be a little more towards medium rare. And we take vinegar peppers, which we slice, marinate, slice, and we saute with our sliced fried potatoes. Then we saute it all together, and then finish it over the top of the center cut pork chops with natural juices.
That is
very popular
dish.
Very, very popular. But you got to be hungry.
Yeah,
Real
absolutely.
hungry to eat this dish.
I'd be okay with that. Tony, you'd be okay with that? Look at that.
That'd make a good breakfast.
Very, very popular. A lot of people seem to be going more towards the pork.
Yeah.
And it's not like the old days where you had to have pork well done. Today, you can eat pork rare, medium rare.
Right.
It's a great meat.
And you got some Chianti here, so I got to tell some stories, but I got to pour some of your Chianti while you talk about it. Tell me about this Chianti you brought me.
Well, this is a Nozzoli Chianti. This Chianti has been around for a very, very long time. Probably of all the wines on our menu, for as long as we've been in business, this particular wine is probably the longest wine that we've had on our menu. If you're looking for a great Chianti, not a Chianti that's not a type of wine that's gonna break the bank.
Right.
But it's reasonable, but it's a high-end
And Chiantis
wine.
were also going to traditions, talking about traditional Italian. That was an Italian, Burgundies and Chiantis were the big traditional Italian wines that everybody was starting out with. So
Right.
Then
Well, it's a great wine for eating. And I'm going to toast with you,
Thank you.
but I'm not going to drink, only because I have to be back on the
He's
line.
got to go back in the kitchen.
I got
I have
to
to
be
say,
back
he's
on
great
the
in the
line
kitchen.
tonight. So
Thank you, Chef.
it's a little early in the day for me, but cheers.
Oh, never for me. That
Salute.
happens. So now I have to. Before I get into some more of the traditions with Sal, is that I have to say some special things with the restaurant. So I came here to go to Johnson West to go to college, and it was 1995. Young, I'm like 17, 18 years old. Went to 2 restaurants in my first week of being here, just on my own, walking on Federal Hill. I lived in the dorm that was a Renaissance Hall in the back streets up there on Atwells Avenue, and the very first time I walked into the door into a Canteen. No idea what the restaurant was like, nothing about it. I just knew that I was a young kid, but I still liked good food. And I walked in and I met your father.
My dad, yeah.
And Joe Marzilli, for the remainder of my time in Providence until he passed away, he treated me like he was my grandfather from coming in. I wanted to find some pictures and I didn't have time to get through a ton, but I found one picture that I have to show you. And my colleagues, my friends out here were laughing at me earlier, but I have to show you this picture of me in 1995 eating at your restaurant. And I was trying to find more pictures of me and your dad in a minute, but look how far back that goes. Is that and that's me bringing all my college friends in, eating in the restaurant and enjoying it. And
that's awesome.
So it's a very special restaurant for me and a special experience because it was literally one of the first things, and it's been a tradition for me ever since. And in later years, I would see you and your dad and dining in there with Mayor Cianci and my family and my friends and stuff. So you are a very, very special part for me and of Federal Hill. So
thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your friendship, Rick.
Thank you, sir.
Over the years. It's great looking at this and looking at some of the people that are right behind it that used to work for me and my dad. And
it still looks the same. The restaurant still looks.
I haven't changed a thing.
The restaurant still looks the same.
It looks exactly the way it did back when my dad started the restaurant.
But you have a very special place, and when talking about the traditions of that, so your menu is unique from a lot of Federal Hill and talking about the Italian traditions. And I want you to talk a little bit. I know there's a lot of people that are very familiar with it, but I want this to be for people that haven't been there in a long time, or God forbid, have not been there yet. But talk about the menu a little bit.
Right. Well, our menu, we've been there. My father opened the restaurant in 1956. So when he did, and I have original menus from that, and I probably should have brought one down for you to look at. but they're quite amazing looking at the menu and looking at some of the prices from back
Oh
in
God,
those days.
yeah.
But the menu that we have then and the menu that I have today is basically the exact same menu.
That's amazing.
Classic Italian dishes. I mean, we have everything from, what we're basically known for is we're a veal house. And we've always been a veal house.
Mm-hmm.
And today, it's very difficult. You don't find a lot of veal on a lot of menus. Now,
Right.
I have every cut of veal that you could possibly imagine. Everything from a stewed veal to a cubed veal. I use top rounds. I use laid cutlet. We have veal cutlets. We roast veal. We bake veal. We stew veal. I mean, I have every kind of veal dish that you could possibly imagine, and all of the classics. And the one thing about the old canteen, and it has been through years, which I'm really so much proud of, is the quality of my food.
Oh, the quality is
And my father always stressed that from day one that when I started with my father back in the 70s, that quality was always going to win out amongst all,
right.
as far as a restaurant. You have quality, you start with quality, you have a reasonable price range in your restaurant on your menu. You give great service with seasoned servers, people that know what they're doing. They know how to communicate and make people feel comfortable and feel like they're wanted in your establishment.
And then, my personal experience in being there over all the years is that they have a passion, your staff. Anyone you've ever had there. I mean, from your bartenders, and you've had some bartenders that have been for extremely long time.
Longevity in my help, yes.
In the kitchen, on the floors, and some of your people that have migrated into different positions have gone up and managed restaurants around the state or out of the state. And I've run into them at different times from being there. And I remember it, these people. But that passion from your dad, from the days of your dad, he was always at the door greeting everybody. So now you carrying on the tradition of being in the kitchen and keeping that authenticity and those traditions alive is to your credit. And you deserve a lot of credit for that. Because again, it is, not to overuse that word, but it is a very special thing to make that happen and to do that. And every time I go in to see Sal, I feel bad because I'm interrupting him because he's in the kitchen. He's always in the kitchen, but I always want to say hi and be there. And you've been through the realms of what's happened on Federal Hill. You've been through the realms of you and your father through politics and Mayor Sancy and all these different mayors, and you've kept all these special traditions alive. And I think that's absolutely amazing. The menu also, you make it simple for people to come in and be able to try multiple courses, right? So you've got,
exactly.
Talk a little bit about
Yes, what we have is our menu is designed two ways. We have it either a la carte, which for instance, this particular dish you would get here with a side of pasta or a side of vegetables, or we offer the complete dinner, which is what basically we've been known for. And what that includes is we have 3 homemade soups every day that we do at the restaurant. Some soups are tied into a particular day of the week. And so when you come and you have the complete dinner, obviously you start with the garlic bread and the bread and butter, and then you order your beverage. But what we go from there is we serve an antipasto or a salad. It's an individual antipasto or a salad. Okay. And then you have your choice of your one of 3 soups. Okay. Then you have your main course with the same size main course, and then you have your vegetable or pasta, and then we serve ice cream and coffee. Right. And the difference between those 2 meals is a $2 bill. It used to be $1, and that wasn't too long ago. And then I raised it, I think the last year my father was alive, and we went to $2 because it was impossible to be able to do it anymore for that one extra dollar. But it's such a great value.
It's an experience.
Yes, it is. You're getting like the old school Italian wedding dinner.
And that's fine that you say that. So from the soup on down, that's how I related to when I first came in, is that when they told me that I ordered a veal, my very first dish there was a veal. And, for American-sized Italian, it was a veal parmesan that I got when I came in. Right. But they told me I got the pasta beside it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what my grandmother used to do me all the time. And said I'd always she'd give me the choice. You could have some broccoli rabe or you could have the pasta. I always went with the pasta. Right. So that was an amazing thing to know. And from a traditional experience is that to keep that alive as long as you have, similar to what we were just talking about from Angela's, to keep those things alive and the price points to be affordable. You've got customers, every time I'm in there, you've got customers that have been coming there forever.
We have loyal customers. Yeah. And customers, like you just said, that have been, for instance, this afternoon at lunchtime, we had a woman in that was a great-grandmother, and she was in for lunch today celebrating her 99th birthday, and with her was their great-grandchildren. So that's 4 generations of that family have been eating at this restaurant. Now, and that goes back to what you had mentioned before. People that come to the old Canteen, whether it was 40 years ago, 50 years ago,
Right.
or whether it was 10 years ago, when they come, they expect the same meal done the same way.
Right.
And that's what we have done there to last as long as we have.
Right.
Consistency.
Absolutely.
You know, staying on top of that kitchen, staying on top of those meals, staying on top of the staff. I work right in there with my staff.
Oh, I've seen you.
It's
I've
not,
seen
you know, we're together, we're
Right.
side by side, and having that consistency is so very important.
So did you learn to be in the kitchen under your dad?
No, when I started with my dad, my dad had his original chef, which was Michael Bocchiccio.
Okay.
I started with him back in 1975. I went in when I was a sophomore in high school, and I started working behind the line, washing dishes. I came up the old
You went
school
through it,
way.
yep.
You know, there's nothing that I haven't done, nothing that I wouldn't do, and that's just the way it was for me. And I was brought into the restaurant that way, learning from the bottom up.
Yep.
And you know, I'm still in there in the back.
My grandmother used to like to tell me that if I started washing dishes for her, then I'd be fine the rest of my life. And that was literally my first job. Was 15 years old, was washing dishes.
Well, you know,
Go
and you know, when you say that, dishwashers are so important.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I've often said over the years that I can do a one or two man's job as far as cooking do, but I can't cook and wash dishes at the same time. And I think that goes a lot to say why I have dishwashers that have been with me for 15, 20 years.
Well, you treat everybody
Because
like a
that,
family,
you know,
so.
that loyalty, and you have to be good to your help.
So two last things I have for you is that one, when you're getting off Route 10 there to come into Providence, there's some murals that are along the wall.
Yes.
And there's a very special person. There's a lot of good people in those murals, but your father is one of those
Yes.
people that's in there. So people often ask, and we get asked this question a lot about what that means to Providence. And those individuals are people that represent the great traditions and the history of Federal Home. There's some really good people on there, and your father is one of those. So I'm very happy and proud to see that your dad is one of those. And then to close out, because I have to ask this question, because everybody wants me to ask this question, is now you're a chef owner now. You're in the kitchen constantly. What are some of the dishes that you recommend that are either your favorites or that you recommend that people don't miss when they come into the old Canteen?
Okay, I'm gonna mention two, and they happen to be our friend Buddy Sanson's favorite dishes.
Yep.
One is a haddock Sicilian style. That particular dish is probably 50% of the seafood that I sell at the restaurant. And I sell a lot of seafood.
It's amazing.
People love this particular dish. Now I don't, you know, obviously Buddy when he was alive, he
Yeah.
touted that dish. He loved it, but it is very good. It's a haddock that we bake with a little bit of breadcrumb, little oregano, little touch of salt, pepper, oregano, garlic, a little bit of grated Romano cheese,
Very simple.
high quality red wine vinegar, olive oil, with or without hot peppers. I love that dish. It's very popular.
Agree.
The other dish would be our veal ossobuco, which is the veal shank.
Yep.
That's done. We braise it with the celery, onions, and carrots. Slow cook it with a fresh plum tomato. It's about a 4 and a half hour
Process
dish
to
that
do
we
it,
probably
yeah.
make so many a day. When they're done, they're done. But it's a very good seller, and people love that particular dish.
I've had them both, absolutely amazing. So I want to thank you again for making the time. I know you're busy up there, you got lunch and dinner, you're in the kitchen on a constant basis, but I appreciate what you've done for Federal Hill, what you and your father have meant to me, and you have a wonderful restaurant. So thank you, Sal. very
Thank
much
you,
for
Rick.
joining me.
Thanks for your friendship.
Thank you.
My
Okay,
pleasure.
thank you.